Okay, let's talk about toners, hydrators. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be starting something new. It's a new series I'm going to be calling Simplified. And with this series, I'm basically going to be taking different subject matter related to skincare and or makeup and or beauty and breaking it down to the bare essentials, the building blocks, and explaining it to you in more fundamental terminology and language. So today's video, the first of the series, I'm going to be starting with the K-Beauty Essentials, how to do a Korean skincare routine. So if that sounds good to you, just keep on watching. Dope. So Korean skincare, what is it? Essentially, Korean skincare is something that's reached the US within the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years and really gained a lot of popularity for involving so many steps. You have oil cleanser, gel cleanser, exfoliator, toner, essence, serum, sunscreen, eye cream, all this stuff. And at times it can get really overwhelming. And I've had so many people asking me like, what is it? How do I do it? Why is it so much? Like what do I need to know? And so with this video, I'm gonna break all those routines, all those steps, all those products down to basically 4 main categories that I would consider being the essential steps to have, honestly, just an essential skincare routine, but really what the building blocks of the Korean skincare routine are. So in my personal opinion, I would say that the basis of a Korean skincare routine really focuses on maintaining youthful suppleness to the skin through really ensuring that the skin's well hydrated, locking in that hydration, and also protecting it by the use of sunscreen, reducing exposure to solar radiation, which can really provoke and encourage aging in the skin. And so the topics I'm going to be elaborating on in today's video are going to focus on 4 main themes that I feel are going to be essential to just achieving a really well-rounded skincare routine. Mind you, there could be more, but that being said, I think these are the 4 things you should tackle first and then elaborate on later on. And those 4 things are going to be cleansing, hydrating, moisturizing, and protecting your skin. So with that being said, let's get on to the first subject. With all the products I'm going to be mentioning today, I just want to preface by saying that I understand budgetary constraints are a thing. I was one time mad broke trying to figure out how I could get some of these things into my skincare routine because I knew I needed them in order to benefit my skin. So therefore, through the video, I'm going to be mentioning products that you can get anywhere from Walgreens, Walmart, Target, all the way through Sephora boutique luxury pricing. And everything that I'm mentioning has links to various resources down below in the description box as well. That said, be mindful of where you get your skincare products. All the things that are in front of you right now, I've purchased either through Amazon, through reputable retailers online, such as iHerb, YesStyle, or their own brand websites, or Sephora as well. Be mindful just because some retailers tend to sell knockoffs or compromised versions of these products. So just make sure that wherever you're getting them from, you know it's a legit product. So I'd say the first tenet for the Korean skincare routine involves cleansing. And understanding this step and breaking it down was really a big game changer for me in really improving my own skin. And let me say that because until you really understand proper cleansing, you're going to realize that you really aren't cleaning your skin well. And that's the reason why your skin probably is doing the things you don't want it to do. Within the cleansing step, there's 2 sub-steps we're going to be discussing today, which are pre-cleansing and second cleansing. That dual cleansing process is what's really going to up the ante when it comes to proper skincare and getting into the Korean skincare routine. So let's start with pre-cleansing. Pre-cleansing is taking something, and we're going to touch on that in a second, to break down the surface layer of grime, dirt, makeup, sunscreen, sebum. Get that off your face so that when you go in for your second cleanse, you're basically cleansing your actual skin. You're taking off the surface grime to really deep clean your pores. With Korean beauty, there's honestly several ways of doing this. You've probably already heard of most of these, but I'm going to be touching on a good array of pre-cleansing steps. So that way, if you don't really like to do some of them, you have alternatives that are more accessible to you wherever you're at. First item I'm going to touch on is oil cleansing. And oil cleansing can be separated into a liquid oil or a balm oil. And so what those are, they are cosmetic oils that are specifically formulated to break down the surface layer of grime on your face. You apply them dry, massage them in to break down that makeup, that sunscreen, that grime, and then it rinses away the minute it touches water. It emulsifies and becomes this really milky substance that rinses away with minimal to no residue. And that's why I want to specify that these are cosmetic oils. They're formulated for this process specifically, and they're not like olive oil, coconut oil, that bottle of Wesson canola oil you have by your stove. They are not the same thing. Those kinds of oils aren't formulated to mix well with water. So even if you rinse them off and wash your face, you still have the likelihood that they will remain on your skin in a film. And oftentimes they're more comedogenic, which means that they actually clog your pores and kind of encourage acne to form. Oil cleansers, balm cleansers are good for this step. They are intended for this step because they're formulated to emulsify with water and wash away with no residue at the end. The first product I'm going to be showing you is my holy grail oil cleanser, and that is the Heimish All Clean Balm. I've honestly purchased at least a few dozen of these in the last 3 years. And essentially it's just a balm package that comes with these little spatulas, and you scoop out a small amount. Depending on how much is on your face, whether it's just simple sunscreen or a full beat, you can really adjust the amount you use, but you just take some with the spatula. Same about that much is about average. Take this, just press it across your face and start massaging that in. It's gonna break down what's on your face. You just rinse it off and you're good to go on with your second step. Another cleanser that I really enjoy that's a balm texture is the Clinique Take the Day Off Balm. This one I have a mini of. I got a bunch of these when I worked at Sephora. I really like the convenience of this packaging. You can get the Heimish one in these packages as well. Same concept, balm cleanser, massage it in, rinse it off. Really good texture. I think the main difference is accessibility. Clinique is available readily in the US, as well as price points. The Heimish one's about $15. I think the Clinique one gets into the $20 range. Getting into liquid oil cleansers, I only have one on me right now, but there is a wide array. These, again, oil that emulsify with water. They're more popular, I think, in Japanese beauty routines compared to the balm cleanser we just talked about. But the one I have on me right now is the Boscia Makeup Breakup Cleansing Oil. Much like the cleansing balm, you're going to do about a pump of the product into your hand, massage it into your face, rinse it off. The main thing with choosing a cleansing oil is just the texture. Some people are more particular. This one's a little bit more rich to me compared to other cleansing oils I've used. I think the first product that got me into oil cleansing was actually a Lancome cleansing oil that's unfortunately discontinued. It was a lot more of a lightweight texture compared to this one, but it was heavily fragranced and really expensive because it was Lancome. Play with the textures that you find, see what works best for you, see what texture you enjoy most. With skincare, honestly, a lot of it is the fun behind it. So find what you enjoy using because it means you will use it more. Delving a little bit away from oil cleansers, another alternative to a pre-cleanse is going to be something like a micellar water. Micellar water is essentially little micelles, or basically little oil particles dispersed or suspended in a hydro solution like water. It just helps to, again, break down makeup in a little bit more of a gentle manner compared to oil cleansing. One example I have with me is this little travel mini of the Dr. Jart Dermaclear Micro Water. Put some of this on a cotton round, cotton pad, microfiber towel. Gently remove the makeup off your face with this. Key with all of this is just being gentle with your skin, but you really need to break down your makeup and take off whatever's on your face before you go in and actually wash your face. Granted, there is a wide selection of micellar waters available in the US. You have brands like Neutrogena, Simple, and Bioderma are some of the bigger name micellar waters that are available. So play around with whatever you like. I'm personally more of a fan of oil cleansers because I do have more oily skin. I do produce a lot more sebum, and I find that balm cleansers and oil cleansers break down the impurities on my skin a lot more effectively than micellar waters do. So we've mentioned the pre-cleanse step, makeup and grimes off your face, right? So now you're going to get into the step of actually washing your face. So with the cleansers, be mindful of what it is that your skin needs, what your skin concerns are. And that goes for everything I'm going to be mentioning in this video. I personally, as I mentioned, have oily, acne-prone skin. My skin can handle a lot just because I do a lot of treatments and it's gone through a good amount of wear and tear with trying to figure out what it is that works for me. But you might have really dry, really sensitive skin, or be somewhere in the middle. Every step I mentioned in this has products that should cater to all the things. Play with different products, play with different textures, see what it is that's really going to work for you and your skin. With cleansers, you have a couple different textures, different formulas, and the three main ones I'm going to be discussing today are going to be gentle non-foaming cleansers, gel foaming cleansers, and alternative kinds of cleansers. With these cleansing steps, in my opinion, cleansers are on your face for such a short amount of time. You have a lot of wiggle room as to what you can use for a cleanser. Honestly, if you're in a pinch, and most people don't even recommend it, but bar soap is gonna cleanse your skin. It's gonna strip your skin, so you gotta make sure you take care of your skin afterwards. But that being said, it's a way of cleansing your face. The ones I'm gonna be mentioning today are a lot more gentle. They're a lot more nourishing for the skin. But I just wanted to mention that because some people are very fixated on the things that are in their cleansers, like treatments and specific active ingredients. Because it's on your face for such a short amount of time, really don't focus on having those in your cleansers. They're not going to be doing so much to your skin because they're on your face for such a short amount of time, and then get rinsed off right afterwards. So going to the category of non-foaming cleansers, I have two-ish options I'm going to talk about. The first one's going to be the CeraVe Hydrating Facial Cleanser. This one, really good drugstore item, costs about, I think, less than $10 depending on where you get it. I discovered this one because it is a dermatologist recommended product. A lot of doctors recommend it because it is so gentle on the skin. CeraVe products are chock full of ceramides and hyaluronic acid to really nourish the skin, soften the skin, and leave you with a really hydrating finish. This moisturizer doesn't really foam up, but rest assured, it is going to cleanse your skin really well. So if you're looking for something that's going to be super gentle, cleanse your skin without doing the most to your skin, I really recommend this one. Another alternative that is K-Beauty from the brand COSRX is the Low pH Good Morning Gel Cleanser. It is a gel texture, and I recommend this one as an ish to the gel foaming one because it actually doesn't foam up aggressively. It foams up enough that you feel like, oh, this is foaming. And if you're like me, that foaming means it's deep cleaning. But it's called the Low pH Good Morning Cleanser because it isn't as alkaline and basic as most cleansers. And so it's not going to throw off your pH, and therefore you're not going to really feel any irritation or any stripping of your skin. It's really going to cleanse your skin in a really gentle format. This one, median price range, I'd say about $15. I got mine off Amazon, but COSRX is actually a brand that's being carried a lot more in US retailers, I found. So it might be a little bit more accessible for you to find. Getting into foaming cleansers, these are cleansers that I recommend for more oily, acne-prone skin. They foam up. To me, that means that they get into your pores a lot better. They really give you a more deep clean. If you have oily skin like me, you know you're going to be producing a lot of oil throughout the day. That means sebum buildup. That means excess oil and grime on the face. It feels heavy. You want to clean that off. With gel cleansers like this that foam up, it's really going to ensure that grime's taken off, but also your pores are really cleaned out. It's going to make sure that you don't have any impurities in your skin, and it's going to ensure that your skin is clean and ready for the next step afterwards. This one I'm going to recommend today is the Dr. Jart Dermaclear Microfoam Cleanser. And I really like this one because it's similar to the other cleansers, leave your skin feeling really nourished and non-stripped, but it does foam. And it's leaves you feeling super cleansed, but does so without leaving your skin feeling super tight and dry. Another reason I like this product is that you need the smallest amount of product to actually give your face a full cleanse. That's honestly all you really need. I've had a bottle of this last me 18 months. Do with that information what you will. Dr. Jart products are available mainly in Sephora in the US. I have seen them carried in a few other Korean beauty stores. The links below are for Sephora and the Dr. Jart website though. If you can find it, get your hands on it. Their Dermaclear line honestly is such a safe bet for most general skin types, so check it out if you can. Going to alternative types of cleansers, this one we're going to talk about is an alternative texture. You're used to liquidy cream-like cleansers that can foam up or not foam up depending on what it is you like. The one I'm going to talk about today is the Tatcha, the Deep Polish Cleanser, and what this is actually an enzymatic cleanser. The product itself is actually a powder texture that once water gets mixed into it, it begins to suds up and kind of become a foaming cleanser. And the properties inside of it help to gently exfoliate and polish the skin. There's two types of this, one for dry to normal skin and one for normal to oily skin. I have the normal to oily skin one. Essentially, it's a really good cleanser if you need a little bit more from your cleanser. It is going to help exfoliate your skin and give you a nice refined texture as a result. This is an exception to the rule of cleansers are on your skin for a long time, so you're not going to see too much of an effect from actives. This is kind of the purpose of this one. There you have the basic breakdown of cleansing. Ideally, you want two types of cleansers, a pre-cleanse and a second cleanse. Depending on your skin type, play around with what works for you. The basic breakdown for that is make sure you're taking everything off your face so that you're able to wash your skin properly. Now that you have a cleansed face, let's move on to the next step. So after a cleansed face, you're going to focus on the next step of the Korean skincare routine, which I find to be the super vital step, which is hydrating your skin. With Korean beauty, I found that the all-encompassing, all-powerful principle is hydration. You are introducing hydration into your skin in several thin layers to really ensure that your skin's getting the nourishment from the hydration that it needs that can last you throughout the day in various textures and various weights. And then you're going to lock that in so that you have super dewy, supple skin. With hydration, we're going to focus on two main types of products, which are toners and essences. Let's talk about toners first. Toners in East Asian culture is very different than toners that we're used to here in the West. In the West, we're used to really astringent, very, very stripping toners that's basically suck the life and moisture out of your skin. In Asian cultures, it's all about being super gentle. They are chock full of products like hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, to be able to restore the pH, but also balance everything out and leave your skin super supple. The products I'm going to be talking about today really focus on the hydrating step, and that is their sole purpose, to really infuse skin with hydration, and they're not really going to include much else to the skin. You can get toners that do have a lot more active ingredients. That's going to be a whole other video. The first one I'm going to be talking about today is the Klairs Supple Preparation Toner. This is, in my opinion, cult classic on beauty YouTube world. So many people have talked about this for so long, but essentially what it does is, it's right in the title, it's a supple toner. It's a semi-viscous formula. As you can see here, it's not too watery, but it kind of is. And oh my god, let's smell this shit. Hold on. 1 second. This toner pretty much does exactly what it's in the title. It leaves you with a super supple, super plush finish on your skin. It's a little bit more viscous than the toner you might be used to, but it's fundamentally just about restoring hydration to the skin. The next product I'm going to be talking about today is the Hydrators Gokujian Lotion. It's a Japanese brand. You might hear lotion a lot. Lotion in Asian skincare generally means the same thing as toner for us. The Gokujian line is super cool in that the products in it carry multiple weights of hyaluronic acid. What is hyaluronic acid? It's basically this compound that pulls moisture from its surroundings to hold hydration in the skin if it's used in a cosmetic product. So there's 3 different weights of that help to really get into the skin and plump up the skin. Hyaluronic acid is a very skin plumping ingredient. There's also a line in the Hydrators products that is gold that carries 5 different weights of hyaluronic acid. So depending on what your skin needs, whether it's hydration or super hydration, pick which one works best for you. An alternative to the 2 that I just talked about is this one from Dr. Jart. It is the Cicapair Tiger Grass Calming Mist. Compared to the other 2, which are in bottles that you have to pour out, this one's actually a mist. It has tiger grass, also known as Centella asiatica, which is an ingredient that is really, really great for compromised skin. Centella asiatica itself has been studied to be really, really beneficial to wound healing, as well as it's just a standard antioxidant. It's really good for compromised skin or skin that's super inflamed and irritated. If you're like me and sometimes you go ham with the treatments and exfoliants and acids, it's a really good ingredient to incorporate into your skincare routine to be able to calm things down. A toner I like to use for specific skincare concerns is this one by La Roche-Posay, and it is their Effaclear Clarifying Solution. The reason I like to use this one is, again, I have acne prone skin, and this has salicylic acid, which is an ingredient that is known to help clear out congestion, clear out any buildup in your pores, prevent breakouts or treat breakouts, and it helps to exfoliate the skin in a really gentle way. This is a super, super lightweight formula, and I would only ever really use this once or twice a week. So directly after cleansing, I would go in with this and then directly follow it with a hydrator, only because it is not that hydrating of a formulation. And this is more of a treatment for me, but it is technically a toner. Now we're gonna move on to essences. What's the essence? A lot of times where people ask a big question mark, because essentially essences were more of a fixture in Korean skincare routine. So when that whole K-beauty trend made its way to the US, that's the first time a lot of us had ever heard of essences. What essences can boil down to are essentially baby steps into serums. It was first introduced as being a step into skincare routine that you would layer with everything else. And essentially they would allow everything applied after them to be absorbed better into the skin and thus increased those products' efficacy. Another way to think of essences, and the big difference between essences and toners, is essences, on top of being really good hydrators, also include a pretty high percentage of active ingredients. And that's why I say they're kind of like baby serums. They have some of the same properties as serums, but just in a bit of a gentler, more lightweight formulation. So while essences might have the same kind of hydrators as toners do, for example, you might see hyaluronic acid, glycerin, butylene glycol, which are really good humectant ingredients. They also feature some active ingredients that can be used to target specific skincare concerns. You might see a lot of fermented essences, which are my personal favorites, galactomyces or yeast ferments, snail mucin ferments, or ingredients like sake, which focus on anti-aging, ingredients like niacinamide, which are really good to help with resurfacing of the skin texture, skin dullness, and anti-aging as well, or even exfoliants like AHAs and BHAs. Essences can do a little bit more than just straight toners. How to apply them. So toners and essences are very liquidy in formulation. They can go anywhere from being super, super watery to being light syrupy in texture and viscosity. But generally, the steps to apply them are, if you want to do a cotton round or cotton pad, feel free to do so. Just do a few drops on the pad, massage it around your face. the way I like to do them, which helps to promote the absorbency of the product into the skin, as well as being able to allow you to layer more of them, is to, on the palm of your hand, put a few drops, and I mean literally a few drops, massage that into your hands, and then pat that into your face. Doing so helps the product absorb better into the skin, helps promote more blood flow into the face, and also helps the product not get wasted, because essentially you're just putting on your hands to get absorbed into the face. Another benefit of this method is you're able to layer your hydrators. Back like 3 years ago on YouTube, this big trend blew up that was called the 7 skin method. Skin is basically another word for lotion or toner in Korean skincare. And so the 7 skin method was taking 7 layers of toner and layering that on your face. And what the benefit of that was, it just essentially really pumped that hydration and that moisture into your skin. Now, it's a bit much, I'm gonna be really honest. If I really feel like I need more moisture in my skin, I might just do like 2 to 3 layers of toner or essence, for that matter. If you have really dry skin and you feel like you want all that moisture, feel free. You can do 7, you can do 10, you can do whatever you want. Just know that if you are needing hydration in your skin, whether you have super dehydrated skin or super dry skin, you are able to layer up these hydrators, and it's going to be more beneficial to you in the long run. So another big question, do you need a toner, an essence, both, one or the other? What? That's all up to you, boo. Honestly, my standard everyday get ready with me, I only ever use one of them, and I actually generally tend to focus more on using an essence. I like the hydration of the essence, but I also like the skincare benefits of the essence that the active ingredients have. I find that those are more beneficial to my skin than just a straight toner, because my focus, while I do have oily skin, I am going to moisturize. I have more concerns related towards acne that I need these essences to take care of. Some of my favorite essences, again, I like to have essences that feature fermented ingredients. The first essence I'm going to be talking about is the Secret Key Starting Treatment Essence. This to me embodies everything a fermented essence is all about. It has galactomyces in it, which is a yeast ferment. It also features niacinamide, which is an ingredient that my skin loves. It reacts to really well in just giving me super smooth, super even skin texture and helping to treat hyperpigmentation. I got that essence off of iHerb, and it's a pretty decent price point of about $20. And because you only need so little of it, those bottles generally do last you at least 2 to 3 months. Another essence that I'm finishing up right now is the Misha Time Revolution Essence. This one is the first treatment essence, Pro Ferment RX. And similar to the Secret Key one, it is a fermented essence that features a yeast ferment, as well as a bevy of other hydrators, as well as a few other actives like lactic acid, and it's a super lightweight formula. If I'm going to layer these, because these are super lightweight, I generally use these right after cleansing my face so that they absorb a little bit better into my skin. And then I'll follow them up with any hydrators that I might have. Regardless of whichever one you choose to use, you are going to be taking these products, layering them up on your skin, ideally on damp skin, so that you are preserving the moisture and adding more on top of it, and getting your skin to the stage where it's nice, supple, and hydrated, so that we can then go on to the next step, which is going to be moisturizing. The reason why moisturizing is so important is because you work so hard to build up this hydration in your skin, which your skin needs. It's an organ, it needs that hydration, needs that nourishment, but you need to lock that in so that it stays in your skin. And that's where moisturizer comes into play. Now, granted, moisturizers do tend to have ingredients that do act as humectants, such as the hydrators and the toners. They also feature other ingredients that help to act as emollients and occlusives, depending on the thickness, the richness, the texture of the moisturizer you choose to use. Based on the kind of skin type you have a few different textures of moisturizers, which we're going to talk about today. And those generally are gel creams, which are super lightweight, really easily absorbable formulas that are great for oily skin. We get into textures that are more heavy, like creams. And those are textures that are really great for drier skin, because they're really gonna hunker down, moisturize your skin, soften your skin, and lock in that hydration, but with a lot more power. Those might be too heavy for oily skin, but for dry skin, they're ideal. And then you also can include oils into this formula. Oils, depending on their thickness, richness, and their formulation, can be a little bit more moisturizing, but a lot of times they just work to act as occlusives and locking in the moisture of the skin. So going category by category, let's start off with gel moisturizers. My first example is going to be my Holy Grail moisturizer, which is a little bit unconventional to some people. That's going to be the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Body Gel Cream. The reason I'm using this on my face is basically this has the same formulation as the rest of the Neutrogena Hydro Boost line that is for the face. Since it is for sensitive, dry skin and it's fragrance free, the ingredients on this do nothing more than just moisturize. This is a very straight to the point moisturizer with no other active ingredients, irritants, or anything that's going to be really harmful or compromising to the skin barrier. So it's very well-rounded, light texture. Having oily, acne-prone skin, this hasn't broken me out. I can really layer this up for days where I need a little bit more moisture and hydration in my skin, because it is Hydro Boost. It is really full of hydrators as well, but it super lightweight, absorbs really easily into the skin, and it sits really well under anything else I put it underneath, such as makeup or sunscreen. Another benefit to this is that it is available at drugstores. I buy mine for anywhere between $7 to $11 on Amazon, at Target, at Walgreens. So it's super easily accessible. Plus you get all of this product. This is 16 fluid ounces. Feel free to decant this into a smaller bottle if you need to, especially for on the go. But you get a lot of bang for your buck, and it's a really effective formula. Now, on the opposite end of the price spectrum, we're going to be talking about a product from a brand called Sunday Riley. Sunday Riley, one of my holy grail brands. This is their Tidal Enzyme Brightening Water Cream, coming in at a $65 price point, at least last time I bought this. It is the same texture as the Neutrogena gel cream, but it features a few more active ingredients in it, which is why I liked it a lot. When I first got this was in the midst of me really working on repairing my skin barrier and treating my acne and hyperpigmentation. This features an ingredient called alpha-arbutin, as well as exfoliating enzymes, which really help to refine skin texture and brighten up my hyperpigmentation, which was why this became a holy grail really quickly. But again, the texture, because it is so lightweight and it is a gel cream, it absorbs really easily into the skin, doesn't sit heavily on oily skin. It was a great way to prep skin for makeup afterwards. Only problem is it is $65. Another gel cream moisturizer that I don't have on me right now, but it's still a really great option, is the Drunk Elephant Protini moisturizer. Essentially, it's just a really lightweight moisturizer with skin barrier benefit ingredients that wore really well under makeup and had really great texture for oily skin. It's just a really high price point. That's why I don't really recommend it that often. Going up a step in the moisturizer textures, we're going to talk about cream moisturizers. So again, cream moisturizers, they're much more rich in formulation. So they're really going to work to lock in moisture, but they're also going to help soften skin. And generally, these are a lot more appropriate for people with really dry skin, eczema.
You got eczema?
I got what?
The eczema?
Or any skin condition where you need that richness. In my hands, I have a Dr. Jart moisturizer. This is the ceramide and cream. It's a travel size, but this is a super rich cream texture, chock full of ceramides, which is a super beneficial ingredient to moisture compromised skin, or skin that needs a little bit more moisture and replenishment in it. On top of the ceramide line, in the same rich texture, Dr. Jart also has two other moisturizers that I'm aware of. One under their Cicapair line, which was the tiger grass one we talked about earlier. And they do also have an orange line that I'm not quite sure what that line specifically entails, but it exists. A lot of brands have rich moisturizing textures like this one. For example, First Aid Beauty features a lot of really great rich moisturizers, since First Aid Beauty is for really sensitive, compromised skin. Drunk Elephant has their Lala Retro Cream, or if you're looking for more drugstore price point, you have items that you can get from Neutrogena or Nivea as well. And now going down the list again, we're going to head into oils. Much like moisturizers in their own sphere have different textures and weights as well. And you've probably heard of things like argan oil, marula oil, and you've probably also heard of coconut oil. And again, we don't really recommend coconut oil, period. You will hear a lot of dermatologists, a lot of estheticians talk against coconut oil just because it is such a rich oil and it's really comedogenic in that it will clog pores and can lead to blackheads and breakouts. So we don't normally get into oils that rich. But staying into the more cosmetic lightweight oils, they can be used to mix into other products to really build up the occlusiveness of some products and locking in moisture. Oils also act as emollients to like really soften the skin. Now, mind you, I have oily acne prone skin. I still actually really like to use oils. I just stick to oils that are still more beneficial to oily skin. The first example I'm going to mention is actually from a Seattle-based brand, and that is Herbivore's Phoenix Oil. It is a really high price point of $88, but you do get a lot of product in it. And honestly, it's just a very straightforward cosmetic oil. I like to use it on days where I really need to lock in hydration. I might just put a few drops in my hand and press that over my hydrators, or I'll layer it up over a moisturizer or mix it into a moisturizer to build the richness of that product up. Another good example of a very general cosmetic oil is the 100% squalane oil from Biossance. Biossance's squalane is ethically sourced from sugarcane, so you can rest assured that it's an ethically sourced product. And again, a couple pumps of this go a really long way in helping to just lock in moisture into the skin. And then last example is the Carez Wild Rose Oil. This was the first cosmetic oil I ever used, and it was also just a very eye-opening experience into what cosmetic oils could be. This is more of a dry oil texture, but essentially it is the type of oil that can mix into any product without altering its formulation at all. So it's great to mix into cosmetics. It also features brightening properties, which again, I had a lot of hyperpigmentation issues, so it helped to address those problems and brighten those up as well, while simultaneously acting as a really good moisturizing agent in helping to lock in hydration into my skin. So as you can notice, all of these moisturizers are actually not from Korean beauty brands. that's just a personal thing. I don't happen to have any right now, and these are products that I've been using consistently for well over a year that I'm also trying to go through. That being said, within or outside of Korean beauty brands, find a moisturizing texture that works well for your skin type. I went through and explained how each moisturizing texture could benefit each skin type. So find what works best for you. Feel free to use individual moisturizers if you want, but also feel free to layer them as well. There's no reason you can't layer a rich cream moisturizer over a gel moisturizer to really amp up the moisturizing inclusive benefits based off what it is that your skin needs and how your skin reacts to them. Because even me with acne prone skin really loves to layer up moisture and benefits from using oils. So now we're gonna get into step 4, the final step of the Korean skincare routine. And honestly, one of the most important, and this should be a requirement in your skincare routine no matter where you are, no matter what your age is, no matter where you live, no matter what time of year, and that is sunscreen. Sunscreen holds the same level of importance in the Korean skincare routine as moisturizing, only because having hydrated, supple, moisturized skin is having youthful skin. And in order to maintain youthful skin, you need to protect it from the sun's UV rays, because the sun's UV rays essentially expedite the aging process. So, I mean, you've honestly seen the little old women who wear like the visors to protect themselves from the sun. They know exposing themselves directly to UV rays expedites the aging process. Therefore, sunscreen holds a super high important status in Korean beauty skincare. It also holds a super high status in this household. For example, I got 7 in front of me right now, and that's just a 7 that we use on a semi-regular basis. We've tried a bevy more, and we will try a lot more. Well, these are the 7 that I can speak to and that I've used regularly and consider more or less holy grails. With sunscreens, you have 2 main categories, which are chemical and physical, which can also be called non-physical, which can also be called organic and inorganic. You hear a lot of names about these, but essentially that goes down to what their UV filters are. So for physical sunscreens, you have 2 UV filters, period. And those are titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. And how physical sunscreens work is essentially those filters act as reflectors and reflect the UV light away, which protect your skin. Those are also the same sunscreens that give you that Casper white cast, only because they do reflect the light away. And also titanium dioxide, for example, is the ingredient that makes white paint white. Especially if you have deeper complexions, these are sunscreen formulations you tend to stay away from. Not only that, but a lot of times, especially in Western skincare, the formulations for these are generally very, very thick, very, very unpleasant. They're not as cosmetically elegant, and I personally don't find them very conducive to wearing underneath makeup. On the other hand, you have chemical sunscreens, which a lot of people are a little bit weary of chemical sunscreens because of the fact that they're called chemicals. But I mean, zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are chemicals. So is water. But in reality, a lot of it has to come down to sometimes these are the ingredients that might cause a little bit of burning in the skin if you do have a little bit of compromised skin barrier. Also, there's the fear of those getting absorbed into the bloodstream, but also with mineral formulations, you have nanoparticles of mineral sunscreens, and people are also afraid of that as well. And it's been proven that that's not really a reality, and you don't really understand the fear behind that. But that's just me. Chemical formulation sunscreens tend to be a lot more cosmetically elegant. They are lighter texture, they wear longer throughout the day, and they wear really well underneath makeup. They're super, super lightweight and quick absorbing, and they feature no flashback and no white cast because they work by absorbing the UV light and transferring that UV energy into really, really small amounts of heat. And that's how they work to protect you from UVA and UVB rays. There are a bunch of UV filters underneath the chemical sunscreen category. And that list is constantly evolving as we keep developing newer, better, more effective, more photostable UV filters. The main difference I'd say between Western and Eastern formulations is that in the US, the FDA is really, really slow to approve new UV filters. I don't know the exact in and outs of this, and I know they just came out with new legislation on this, but the UV filters we have approved in the US are still very, very outdated. And as a result, they actually aren't as effective and they're not as photostable. Prime example being ingredients like avobenzone, which if you look on the back of US sunscreens, you will see that avobenzone is a super, super common ingredient. It is not photostable, but that is an ingredient the FDA has approved, and it's been approved for a long time. Meanwhile, in countries in East Asia, and even in Europe, honestly, they've developed a lot more high efficiency, high photostability filters, which are cutting edge and really innovative. And that's why the formulations that I choose to buy from East Asia are, in my opinion, a lot better, and why I choose to use them. So going down my recommendations, I'm gonna start with my chemical filters. And then I will mention 2 mineral filters that I have used and kind of touch on those. and explain to you a little bit more about sunscreen as we go. My first recommendation is a really cool sunscreen from Perito. This is their Perito Centella Green Level Safe Sun SPF 50 PA+++++. I like this sunscreen a lot because it is actually a really rich moisturizing texture. Oftentimes I will actually follow up a toner or an essence just straight away with this sunscreen because it will keep my skin moisturized while also having the SPF benefit. On top of that, Centella Asiatica is a primary ingredient in this, proven in wound healing and in calming irritation in the skin. An ingredient like that in sunscreen, again, you're in the sun, you potentially are causing irritation to your skin, is beneficial in helping to reduce and nourish and soothe the skin. So it's really like two birds, one stone. While this is a little bit more moisturizing, it is pretty quick absorbing, no white cast. It also has ingredients to help with brightening and anti-aging. It is sunscreen, but they also have other ingredients that work with anti-aging as well. Only drawback to this one is that it does have a lavender scent. I hate lavender, but I could live with it. But they did come out with a non-scented version that's better for sensitive skin as well. Going back and talking about the SPF and the PA ratings, those are two common ratings you will see on pretty much every Asian sunscreen. And so what those denote are essentially the UVB and the UVA protection you're getting from the sunscreen. UVB rays are the ones that cause burning, UVB, burn, whereas UVA rays are the rays that tend to advance aging in the skin, UVA, aging. SPF, the protection from UVB rays, tells you how many times longer you can stay in the sun without getting burnt. For example, let's say you are fair and you get burnt in the sun within 2 minutes without wearing any sunscreen. With SPF 50, for example, you can be out in the sun 50 times longer than that. And so long as you're wearing the appropriate amount of sunscreen, you are not going to get burned. SPF 30, 30 times longer. SPF 15, 15 times longer. Ideally, you want to wear anywhere between SPF 30 and SPF 50 is the recommended amount. Ideally, you want to go higher just because a lot of times people don't wear the recommended amount of sunscreen that they should be. Therefore, if you're not wearing enough of an SPF 70 sunscreen, you're at least getting somewhere in the ballpark of SPF 20. Does that make sense? Going to the amount of sunscreen you should be wearing, the recommended amounts, and there's all these calculations you can do to figure that out. But the generic rule is about 1/4 teaspoon to do your face, your ears, and your neck. The way I do it is I essentially take sunscreen, take about enough sunscreen to cover this part of my finger, that much, and I'll focus that on half my face. And then I'll do another amount of the same and do the other half of my face. And I might do a third amount and do my ears and my neck as well. That's a pretty good way to measure that amount out. You should always wear sunscreen no matter what the season is. Even if you're staying indoors, at least put some SPF on. But if you're going outside in the summer and really exposing yourself long-term to the sun's rays, you should be applying your sunscreen about every 2 hours. There's different ways of doing so. They also have powder and spray sunscreens now, just to facilitate ease in the reapplication process. But just make sure when you're putting on sunscreen, you're putting on enough just because you want that adequate UV protection. A lot of work gets put into figuring out what that SPF number should be, and there's specific measurements they use to get that number. In order to get that number, you need to wear a very generous layer. Another sunscreen. This was actually my introduction as to how amazing chemical sunscreens could be. This is the Misha Sun Milk SPF 50+. PA++++. Super lightweight, milky texture. You put this on within 3 minutes, it is absorbed, it is gone. You are left with such a fresh finish. It is not heavy. Granted, it's not as moisturizing as the Perito sunscreen, so you might want to moisturize underneath it, but it is such a lightweight texture. Amazing for oily skin, amazing for deep skin, and it is the perfect primer for makeup. I love it. Another example of a really rich moisturizing chemical sunscreen is the COSRX Soothing Sun Cream, SPF+, PA++++. Rest assured, all these sunscreens are 50+, PA4+. Has aloe, so it is a soothing sun cream. In a similar vein as to the Perito one, it has the additional benefit to help soothe your skin, considering it is a sunscreen, so you will be exposed to the sun. It is really rich formulation. This is one I find I have to massage a little bit extra into my skin just to get it to absorb evenly, but it's a sunscreen I'm wearing today, so you can see it wears really well on the skin. Great canvas for makeup as well. I recommend this one more for drier skin, same as the Perito. It's great for all skin types. My all-time favorite chemical sunscreen is the Same's Eco Earth Power Aqua Sun Gel. This was the first chemical sunscreen that made me love chemical sunscreens. Story time about this one. I was in Seoul. We were walking down a neighborhood called Myeongdong, which is like the shopping district of Seoul. In Seoul, you might find in like a little path, like 2 or 3 of the same exact cosmetic store, but you'll find like a bunch of different brands. So you'll find like dozens upon dozens of like skincare and cosmetic stores, but every store has someone standing outside them giving away little samples to try to draw you in. And so I'm walking down, my friend Mary, and someone's standing outside the store handing out sheet masks, just handing them out for free. I was like, you know what, fine, I'll take the sheet mask. I'll check out your store. I never heard of them. It's a brand called The Sim. And I go in and automatically I like beeline for the sunscreen because I'm in Korea, the best place to get sunscreens. I'm in the market for sunscreen. And I start playing with them and I come across this product and I'm like, yo, this is like everything. And it was like $8 or $9 US. And so I bought a couple bottles and it quickly was my all-time favorite sunscreen. And so to this day, 3 years later, it's my all-time favorite sunscreen. Super lightweight, smells great, sinks into the skin super quickly, and chemical formulations because I layer up so many of them. That's super vital for me. So within a few minutes, 2 to 3 layers of this is completely absorbed. And I can just go straight on with makeup and it makes makeup last all day. The week after I was in Korea, I was in Hong Kong, which is super humid, super moist, super hot. And this honestly did that. Holy grail sunscreen. This I've only been able to access in the US very, very sparsely. Some websites have it sometimes they don't. I've had to order it directly from Korea a couple times. The last time I bought this was in New York, in Chinatown at the Sim store. That happened to be closing down, I think. So I bought 3 bottles. Next is more of a recent find. I bought this one maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, but it quickly became one of my all-time favorites, and that's the Biore UV Watery Essence Aqua Rich Sunscreen. This is a Japanese sunscreen compared to the other ones, which are all Korean. It's just a really, really moisturizing gel texture chemical sunscreen. It absorbs into the skin super quickly, but it leaves your skin with a super dewy, super glowy finish. Honestly, would not recommend wearing this without setting your face or blotting, but it's a really, really great texture, great for dry skin, but again, oily skin types works really great for. Works really well under makeup if you're going for a very, very glass skin, dewy look. Now, all these sunscreens I usually buy on Amazon. They're all really affordable. I can get them for $15 or cheaper. And again, I wear a very generous amount of sunscreen and these bottles will last me at least a month or 2. So you have no excuse to not wear sunscreen. I will say that right now. And again, I choose to use Korean and Japanese sunscreens because the UV filters are so innovative and so cutting edge that they are super effective, super high strength, super photo stable. And that's really important to me because A, anti-aging, B, hyperpigmentation is something that I've worked really hard to combat and I need to prevent it from worsening or darkening. And C, I use a lot of actives. And so a lot of times my skin is really photosensitive to the sun just because I'm using peels and exfoliants and retinol. These really help to protect my skin and make sure it's not compromised any further. Now, we talked about chemical sunscreens. I do have a couple mineral filters. These are one's Korean, one's Japanese. So because they are Asian, they are a little bit more cosmetically elegant than Western formulations. That being said, while they are not heavy, rich, and greasy, they are still white casty. So they do have that property to them. I will demonstrate that when I give examples, but if you have really fair skin, these are really great options for you. Or if you have really sensitive skin, no matter what your skin color is and you're like, whatever, I will put up with the white cast. These are what I would recommend. First example is the Biore UV Watery Gel Aqua Rich Sunscreen. Now note, this is a Biore UV Watery Essence Sunscreen. This is the chemical filter, different bottle. This is the Biore UV Watery Gel, different bottle. Mineral filters. I bought this thinking they were the same thing. They were not. That being said, this being a mainly mineral sunscreen is super lightweight, absorbs quickly into the skin, leaves you with the white cast, although I have found, depending on how much time and effort I put into really working it into the skin, I can really diminish that white cast. And I generally test that by asking my boyfriend what sunscreen he thinks I'm wearing that day. There's been twice that he wasn't able to guess it. It's still a mineral sunscreen, so you will have that white cast. That being said, with the Biore Aqua Rich sunscreens, they have really hydrating ingredients in them. That's the Aqua Rich portion of them. Even though this is a mineral filter, but it doesn't sit heavy and it's not really rich on the skin, it is really moisturizing. I will give it that much. And that being said, it also does prep your skin really well for makeup by giving you a really hydrated base. The second and the last of the sunscreens we're going to talk about today is from the Korean brand Etude House. Etude House is a super big cosmetic brand in Korea that mainly does makeup, but they do have some really great skincare options as well. And this is their Etude House Sunrise Mild Airy Finish. So this one is interesting in that it is a mineral sunscreen that is super watery in texture. I will show you. Both of these, you will note, you do have to shake because the SPF ingredients in these, the mineral filters, need to get redistributed and remixed into the formula just to ensure that you get even adequate layering of those filters throughout the whole bottle. It is super watery in texture, which I'm not really used to for a mineral sunscreen. On top of that, it is super lightweight, in how it sits on the skin. You can see there the, oh my gosh. But what really shocked me about this one was that it gives you a really powdery matte finish, which I've never seen in a mineral sunscreen before. And so with that, it actually sits really, really well under makeup if you have really oily skin. It controls oil production really, really well throughout the day. Only problem is that it is a mineral sunscreen, so you do get that white cast. I have found though that I can layer this up really well and it won't sit heavy on the skin. What I will say about both of these mineral sunscreens is that they do alter the coloring of your makeup a little bit, where my boyfriend's been able to clock that I'm wearing these filters even underneath really full coverage foundation, because it just throws off the undertone of the foundation slightly. So just be mindful about that. So that basically is the overall essentials to have a Korean beauty routine simplified. So just to recap and reiterate everything again, you have the 4 main steps that you want to follow, which are cleansing, hydrating, moisturizing, and sun protection. These to me are the basic tenets of honestly any skincare routine, Korean or not. I just tended to highlight more Korean products and give you the basis for what you need if you want to complete a Korean skincare routine. There are more steps that we could involve in this, and in future videos I will elaborate more on these. But honestly, to me, these are the essentials you need for any skincare routine, period. You need to cleanse your skin well. You need to moisturize and hydrate your skin. You need to protect your skin. And that's just not me saying that. That's coming from estheticians, from doctors. That is the basics to really take care of your skin. These are just the basics, the 101, the OG ingredients you really need. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I will answer them either in the comments or in the following video. If you have any other videos you want to see, either in the Simplified series, in this K-Beauty series, or otherwise, leave them down in the comments below. And feel free to like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed watching and if you want more content like this. My name's Ramon, and I hope you have a good day.